YouTube Premium Lite is finally here. Thank you, YouTube. We have Google killing Google search for some reason, and unbiased Grok is somehow MAGA for being unbiased. This is the Hacked 18 show. Hey, I'm Jason, faith-based entrepreneur and full-time digital nomad. Timestamps and sources below, along with a link to today's sponsor, Systemi.io. More on them later. So let's kick things off with some awesome news. I'm really, actually genuinely happy about this. Now, YouTube for a long time has been charging just as much as a Netflix subscription for their premium version. And so now we have a $7.99 per month version, which I think is going to be a lot more accessible and reasonable to people, because it just doesn't make sense to pay like $15 or $20 a month to YouTube for the same cost as Netflix and whatever other streaming service you like to use. But now that I can pat myself on the back a little bit here, because the prediction was correct, they are stripping out music and entertainment mainstream media, and you'll still have ads on those, but then the rest of YouTube, like what YouTube was actually originally intended for, will not have ads, according to this article. And so I think this is awesome, because the more we can shift the economy away from everything has to be about advertisers to a direct relationship between the content creators and the people consuming the content, I think the better off we're going to be. We're going to just get better content, and then the annoying ads can go away or go someplace else. So all in all, I think this is awesome. I think this is a price point that can be reasonable. Actually, Logically Answered did a video kind of breaking down how much YouTube Premium Lite or YouTube Premium subscription is actually worth when you factor in how much time we spend watching ads on YouTube. And once you do the math, you're like, oh, actually, I am wasting a lot of time watching ads. But unfortunately, most people don't see it that way. So according to Social Media Today, YouTube Premium only has around 2.5 million subs, which is only about 5% of YouTube, viewers. Now, the good news is, unlike X, it's trying to have everything subscription-based, YouTube does understand that ads still play a role. I mean, heck, even Netflix got rid of some of their plans because they realized we make so much money with advertising. I think it's really hard for people to understand how much revenue advertising generates. And so I think this is a good kind of hybrid model where YouTube doesn't have to worry about licensing with music or whatever mainstream media complains about. They can still have their advertising and their deals, and then the rest of YouTube can be directly supported by the viewers. So the creators, like presumably myself, can keep creating and not really worry about what kinds of advertisers decide to advertise on our content. Speaking of advertising and content, gambling's gone. I think that's the best way to put it. So YouTube came out. For time purposes, I won't go through this. You can go ahead and go to the Creator Insider channel where they give more details. But I don't think you really talk about this type of content, so it's probably not going to affect you. The only thing I will note, though, is they're doing this awkward thing where they're separating certain types of sites versus what you might do with sports. I think that's more of a cultural thing than like an ethical thing. So I guess YouTube's concerned about younger generations getting addicted to certain types of online activities. You can tell I am not saying the word because I do not need this video more restricted than it might already be. And the flip side, doing that same activity with sports teams is somehow okay. Maybe there's some data that says, one is more addictive than the other, but it kind of seems like a silly argument to make. But all in all, to say pretty much YouTube's going to really start cracking down on this type of content. Now, before we dive into Google killing Google search for some reason, quick note on today's sponsor from Systemi.io. This is actually the landing page, sales funnel software, email software, course software, community software, and affiliate marketing software that we use for our own business. I'm still in the process of moving over there, but when you click the link in the description below, they have a special deal just for you. When you sign up for either their paid or free plan, you can just choose one of these bonus offers offers, I would recommend going with the free course on how to create your online course so you can dive in, use the free templates in there, and start creating and selling. And even if you don't have something to sell yet, growing an email list is arguably one of the top 3 most important things to do in growing your business. So definitely check them out via the link in the description below, and a lot more tutorials on how to use it as I move my entire business over there as well. Now, Google is making an interesting move, and it's just another signal that all of us who spent so much time and money investing in blogs are now regretting our decisions. No joke. I've spent, before my blog was hacked, we spent over $15K on content and SEO related to that stuff. So to know that that's just completely gone now is really comforting, really glad. But it does mean that social media is probably the way to go. All right, I'm getting a little distracted, so let's dive in here. Now, Google is coming out with several new modes for their search. So essentially, instead of just going to Google and clicking search, you can now click on this AI mode, which turns Google into a glorified, GPT, Grok, or DeepSeek or Gemini, right? Because Google is Gemini. I don't know why I said that last one. But anyway, as you can see if you're watching the preview here, it is essentially scraping the web just like every other AI tool does and giving the answers to people who are searching instead of displaying web results. So on the one hand, I understand this. Google's all about usability, and they want users to keep going to Google because they need to serve ads. Presumably, they're going to figure out how to stuff ads in here, right? They have to keep making money somehow while they spend billions of dollars developing AI models. But at the same time, if you are creating blog content, this is awful. This is absolutely awful because Google, instead of becoming the doorway to the internet, just now wants to be the internet, which is great for Google and terrible for the rest of us. Of course, there's the other problem too, that all these AI models can actively review and see live websites. Pretty much everything that we create, even if we don't want it to, can be used in a AI answer. Now, I've seen some comments of people saying, oh, I don't care, because these AI models, rightfully so, do cite all their sources. But I can tell you, everyone's traffic is just going to plummet over the next few years as more and more people just use AI models. AI looks at your blog or looks at your site, grabs that information, gives it to the user, and the user is not going to click through to your site. And I've even found this in myself. I have some examples of using Grok's deep search later on in this episode. And really, something that I think is happening from a psychological standpoint here is just seeing that the information was linked to a live site is helping people trust what AI is spitting out more. And it is also, of course, reducing the amount of imagination or hallucination, stupid ways of saying AI making up stuff when it's not actually true. So this is like another nail in the coffin for SEO. Props to Google for at least admitting that they have to kind of kill their best product. But it will be interesting to see how they figure out how to stick ads in there. Now, next up, we have an interesting report from Business Insider, of course, with a little asterisk here, as usual, and X. And so Business Insider somehow got this leaked document of how Grok was trained. And so I just wanted to share this with you because for some strange reason, politics keeps blending into the development of AI. And as someone who just wants to get his work done, it's really annoying. But somehow, I'm not sure how. Obviously, please use your own judgment. That's why I always try and show you the actual source, not just a vague report, that apparently somehow this list of respect human life, be unbiased, allow personal freedom as a guiding principle, be witty and humorous at appropriate moments, uphold freedom of speech, do not follow popular narratives uncritically, do not moralize, preach, or judge, be insightful, and minimize equivocation. Should have looked that up. Definition below. Do not BS or gaslight, and do not impersonate Elon Musk unless prompted to. Somehow, this equates to MAGA and conservatism. I don't understand it. I'm not quite sure why the headlines have skewed that way based upon these screenshots. There's some other screenshots here. Oh, that's there we go. Apologies for the cut. Apparently I lost the page here. So I will just show this if you want to pause the video, if you're watching the video version, and read through this. But this is kind of some of the more detailed screenshots that were apparently revealed in this article, showing that apparently the way Grok has been prompted, some people are pointing this to the way that X is trying to essentially program Grok to be unbiased is in and of itself biased. So it's kind of strange, like reading through a couple of these, I thought that it was pretty reasonable. Whether you agree with it or not, I think this is where a lot of personal opinion keeps coming into these discussions. And so we get, over the top headlines here. And so what I would recommend, instead of worrying about whatever, reporter or mainstream media outlet says about a particular AI model on both sides, left and right, because everyone also complains about GPT apparently leaning too far to the left, although I don't have that issue most of the time. I would recommend going and, of course, A, trying it yourself, but B, we also have these leaderboards that you can use. So I'll leave a link in the description to this leaderboard. And so essentially what happens is it is a bunch of people who decide to use this tool. They compare it back and forth, and then they give their honest feedback on which outputs they like. And they even have a couple of categories up here where you can see. So for example, for me, creative writing is the most important part of what I do, whether it's business strategy, marketing, or sales copywriting. And so according to this community, you can see how many votes each one gets. A lot of people like GPT 4.0 for creative writing. So good news, I'm using some version. I think I'm on GPT 4.5 now. I don't pay for that pro model. But all that to say, these headlines are getting really, really flamboyant. And I think if you really want to make sure that you're getting work done and you're using a model that's going to support you in whatever it is that you're using, focus on leaderboards, not necessarily reviews, whether it's left, right, or a tech company pretending to be in the center when they really lean left, to go out and find leaderboards and find actual reviews of people in your niche and which models are actually being most helpful to them. So I guess I'll leave it there to try and be as unbiased as possible. Also, quick update, apparently X communities on iOS, you can now filter the timeline based upon popular, trending, or new. I don't think much of us use X all that much other than just like news updates, not necessarily as a content creation platform, but please comment below if you actually do and you want more news on that. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this episode. Go ahead and comment below with your questions and feedback, and make sure you check out systemi.io for all of your funnel building, email, promotions, and of course, creating your courses and communities as well. Lots more content on that to come. So until the next, keep building the business you love.